This is one of the first speeches like this I've given, and it's on a unique topic. So you're getting the first of some of these stories and different interesting things I'd love to discuss because it's about music and it's about art. And there's also going to be a part of it in the end where I explain the current project I'm a part of, which is Augur. First of all, Eric is awesome. I recommend hearing him whenever he speaks. He is more passionate in his voice than almost anyone I know, so it's all true, believe me. So good job, Eric. I've been a part of the music scene for a while. In Detroit, I worked for Eminem's record label, Web Entertainment, which actually leased out his services to Dr. Dre originally. So I have worked in music in the past, and it's something where it's not exactly the most forward-thinking industry, but it's interesting to see how unique it can be in comparison to everything else that's happening, especially in the Bitcoin scene, because the Bitcoin space really has a lot of financial sector individuals participating in it. And when you go to music, it's a completely different vibe, a completely different group of people. And that's really what I wanted to focus on and tell a couple cool stories about artists and, a little bit about me. I worked at a record store in the past. I do love it. I worked on various projects for different artists, from major labels to indies. Really, any band that would need a project, I was more than happy to take on, regardless of genre. The beginning of 2014, I began at BitPay. Eric was a coworker of mine. We worked on a lot of projects together. I had a great 2014. Some really cool things happened. It was an amazing year to be a part of the Bitcoin scene, especially in a year where in your first month you are announcing Newegg, and your last month you are participating in a nationally televised bowl game and announcing Microsoft is accepting Bitcoin. It was a cool place. And throughout the year, I kind of took it upon myself to develop relationships with artists for many reasons. And I think I'll summarize the first one and make it real easy is artists give you a very high profile for your company, for whatever good you're trying to sell. And I mean that in a way that I'm not trying to sell Bitcoin, but I'm trying to sell the idea of Bitcoin to people. And musicians speak to people in a way that you or I can't, a way that talking heads on the news can't. And that is really an audience that I think is really it's not targeted as much as it should be, and I saw that, so I made it a point to develop some relationships there. And now I'm actually a part of a project called Augur, which really attracted me because I get attracted to quirky, weird projects that are not exactly the easiest to understand, but once you do, a light bulb goes off, a lot like Bitcoin. And I'm really excited to be a part of it, so I'm going to say that to the end, and I only plan to talk for a couple minutes about that because the interesting stuff is going to be about music. Let's go to our next slide. Music and Bitcoin, why? Because Bitcoin is punk rock. It's saying screw you to banks, it's saying screw you to everyone trying to control your money, and it's really giving you freedom. And that's, the same freedom that Bruce Springsteen's saying about, the same freedom that Gil Scott-Heron saying about, what spoken word on, and, Rage Against the Machine, all these artists, and really, there is a trend throughout history. Music has been the voice of the common people. Bitcoin is for the common people. And it's a little bit of why it bothers me sometimes to see it so often associated with the same liberty community, because it's bigger than that and it's better than that. And I'm not saying that we don't love the support of that, and a lot of us have similar feelings, but really it's about controlling your destiny and controlling your financial power and freedom. So it's everything that punk rock stood for. It's for standing on your own and really saying, I don't want to be a part of this system. I want to work over here with these guys that are doing something really cool and different. I'm maybe not 100% convinced this is going to work, but I'm going to do everything I can to make it work to the best of its ability. And the further I go along in this space, the more I realize if it ain't Bitcoin that works, it's going to be something very similar. And you hear that a lot, but it's going to happen. It could take 20 years, I don't know, but it's going to definitely happen. One of the major artists we worked with was 50 Cent. And it kind of was a supplement to working with Eminem, but it was a different artist at a different phase in his career. One of the reasons that 50 Cent really wanted to accept Bitcoin was because he was on an independent label for the first time in his career, and he released that newest record. He also happened to release or make the announcement he was accepting Bitcoin about a week after he did his terrible first pitch. And that got him so much negative publicity that the week later, when he actually said he's accepting Bitcoin on Reddit, on an AMA, it got tons of positive press, and it got people to stop paying attention. The people at his label, for the most part, had no idea what Bitcoin was, thought it was a joke, was wondering why we were being so persistent on wanting to help them with marketing until it happened, and he got a ton of press requests, and they didn't know how to react. This was something when I was at BitPay that happened a lot, and it was kind of awesome to see, but it sometimes was like, I wish you saw the opportunity that was ahead, because we could have grown and you could have grown. But you can't get mad at an artist that really does want to be a part of the future, and 50 Cent does. I don't think that he is into Bitcoin as much as most in this room, but I also think that anyone who's adventurous and willing enough to put their name behind something that maybe is controversial, you should support. So I think having him on board was interesting. My favorite people to work with throughout the entire time at BitPay music-wise, and I will say this is about entertainment, but it's a lot for music, because that's where I come from, it's what I know best, is Warner Brothers Records. If someone would have told me that Warner Brothers Records would be the coolest people that I worked with, a record label, the most stodgy, hard to deal with people probably in any entertainment medium, I would have been shocked and never believed you. A gentleman by the name of Jay Chavo was someone who really believed in BitPay. He was impressed by all the hard work we did, and there was an artist that wanted to accept Bitcoin, and it fell apart at the last minute. Warner went out of their way to really, support BitPay and really get their CFO on board, and get just the entire structure really knew about BitPay and what we were doing and why it was unique, and they loved us. And what happened was we developed a relationship with Warner that really paid off, and my personal relationship with them has continued to this day. It's such a big name, and it's really something that's unique. And you can see from the tweet that I shared, they participated in our Bitcoin Ball campaign, which I want to go into in a few minutes, but I just wanted to share that tweet that's nice and easily readable for now, because I will come back to that. Mastodon, that's myself and a coworker at BitPay, and you're seeing one of the members wearing a BitPay shirt, and they were supportive. Warner reached out to Mastodon, they're an Atlanta band, and they were, I think they were the second major label artist to accept Bitcoin. They did great with it, they all are very supportive, and they're really cool guys. They were nominated for a Grammy, and not only that, they were the only band to get picked out of the Grammys this year. Which was pretty entertaining, and it doesn't surprise me they would be the band with the guy with the face tattoo would be the one that accepts Bitcoin. But cool guys are cool guys, and they're really awesome, and they're very supportive, and that's something that's unique. I don't think any other record label, I don't think Sony, I don't think Universal wouldn't go nearly as out as Warner did for us. And in the future, I'm hoping to work with them more, and I've maintained my relationship with them. It's a great relationship to this day. Shooter Jennings is someone else, a country singer. He's actually become a really good friend, and I was texting him earlier because he wanted to block the shirt. And he gets Bitcoin more than any artist out there, and that's not even a question. He's done everything for us at BitPay. He would record commercials for us. He would really go above and beyond spreading the Bitcoin word than you would ever expect. He's told me personally about his conversations with people like Marilyn Manson, Tom Morello, Rage Against the Machine, and some country artists that you really would never expect. Jamie Johnson is one that I'm thinking off the top of my head, and they've had conversations about Bitcoin. He's appeared on Joe Rogan's podcast talking about Bitcoin. This guy's doing things similar to Andreas for Bitcoin, but it's in a completely different way, and it's in a completely different format. He's using his pedestal to talk about this, and I actually had a chance to hang out with him for a bit, with Eric actually, which was cool, and it was a fantastic experience, and he really showed that it's something he's genuinely passionate about, and you really don't expect that from an artist. The other one that I didn't share on this PowerPoint slide, but that I know is a big supporter, is Daryl Palumbo of the band Glassjaw. They are one of my favorite bands. They're a New York hardcore band, but very supportive. Follows all kinds of Bitcoin-related individuals on Twitter, and is really knowledgeable about it, but he doesn't really stick his head out much. He likes to keep it below the radar. And I'm going to come to a bigger point here in a minute. I just wanted to go over a little history of what I work with, and one other artist that's actually doing a lot for Bitcoin, which is Next, and it's not one I work with. It's Nas. As you can see here, this is the Nas test, and it's sponsored by Coinbase. He's also an investor in Coinbase, and what you basically needed to do is get enough points to rank in the top 100, and he sent Bitcoin to people. Nas is a huge Bitcoin supporter, and if you're not familiar with Nas, he's a great rapper who released Illmatic in '94, which is one of the best rap records ever made. I do hope someday I get to speak with him about Bitcoin, because I think it would be fascinating. He's a very intelligent individual, and it makes me sad that he's the one artist so far that I haven't had a conversation with about it or haven't talked to his people about it. And since he really is into it and really gets it, I'm really eager to grab that opportunity. I also want to make sure I don't go over time, so pardon me if I keep looking at that. But here's some other artists. A lot of these are large on an indie scale. Critically acclaimed. They do plenty of merch, and they sell a lot of records. You've probably never heard of them unless that's your scene, which is fine. That's the way music works. Some of these bands I love, some of these bands I hate. What I do know is that you can buy all of their merchandise, tickets, CDs, records with Bitcoin. And that's, the very basic way that Bitcoin and music really get intertwined. And I'm going to go a little deeper about how really speaking to these musicians and really leveraging those relationships really helped me out and it really helped Bitcoin out on a campaign that I was a part of in December, which is one of my personal highlights, actually. And that's the hashtag Bitcoin Gold campaign. And what we did was we had a group of guest tippers basically give tips to people that use the hashtag Bitcoin Gold that we're talking about at the night of the game. That was basically my involvement of the Bitcoin Bowl was heavily around that this digital campaign. And really I was so happy with how it came out, and I was so happy with everything about it. And what I did was I reached out to people that I grew and developed relationships with. Warner Brothers, Black Country Rock Media, which is Shooter's label, but also has a lot of other artists that maybe aren't as big as things you hear on the radio, but they have fan bases and they have audiences. Curtis Axel of the WWE, I'm a big wrestling fan. Shooter knew him, reached out for me, and we had him giving tweets. UFC fighter John Fitch, Newegg.com, the second largest e-commerce site in America, and Mr. Bitcoin himself, Andreas. They all participated and gave people tips, sent people Bitcoin for really doing nothing other than using hashtag. And if I had to explain, I don't want to go into too much detail here, there wasn't a ton of support from other entities for this campaign. And these people went out of their way to help me and really help Bitcoin. And it was all about leveraging that relationship. I'm going to go on to that a little bit more too. These are some of the tweets that they sent out. They all made it public that they're going to be giving out free money. And that's a first for social media. No one's really done that before, that I can think of. No one said, use this hashtag and we'll pay you. And at first you hear that and you go, that's a terrible idea. But then when you realize that this is getting a ton of new people really to experience Bitcoin for the first time, it to me was the most valuable partnership we had during that entire bowl game, because it actually gave people their first Bitcoin experience. And what we tried to do was make a few tips that were very high. $200 we would tip someone. And we really tried to make a splash, and we did. We really did, and it ended up being very successful, as I'll go on to here in a minute. We basically, the day of, had them send out this image. Very low-key approach, and it ended up dominating Reddit. The front page, I think, had 4 or 5 different posts from different Twitter feeds of artists and notable folks that were giving away Bitcoin. It also got really popular on our college football, or our CFB. So we really had a couple audiences we were going after, obviously the traditional Bitcoin audience, but we wanted to go after the college football audience that would be watching the game. And I will not be I will not be a liar. I'm not a college football fan. But what I did learn to appreciate was how diehard they were, and really way more open-minded to Bitcoin than a lot of other audiences I've spoken to. So, of course, there's always the skeptics, the doubters, the butt pointers, who are funny, by the way. But other than that, there wasn't that same hostility. It was a lot more open-minded, and it really does make you realize there is a generation gap. And obviously, they're all generalizations, but they're there. And that opened my eyes again to that, even though I'm constantly reminded of it. But good information and the truth really gets that generation gap, makes it shrink. So how did it turn out, right? That's the big goal, is all these relationships I developed through the year that I tried to maintain positivity through. How did it turn out? Well, it turned out great. It was the first time anything Bitcoin related ever trended nationwide on Twitter. Twitter, as far as I know, I always say that because if no one's ever presented me with a previous case, it could have happened, but everything I'm understanding is that it's the first. The only thing I was bummed that it didn't trend worldwide. But it's college football, it's regional. I wanted to have that big goal, but I'm very happy that we were at least the first to do this on a nationwide basis. It not only really did it trend there, but it trended in the city of Orlando for 23 hours straight. And really what it did was just give a completely different vibe and view to Bitcoin. It gave Bitcoin and BitPay credibility because there were people working with us that weren't just accepting Bitcoin. There was Newegg and Warner, big names. And my favorite quote on this page that I came up with was, through these relationships, I was able to get them to participate at no cost for BitPay. In other words, the most successful social media campaign in Bitcoin history cost BitPay absolutely nothing. We do not get a penny for this. Our time and really reaching out to people that we have relationships with, including ChangeTip and the people that I spoke about before. The lesson's simple. Growing relationships with clients is important on a multi-level plane, really. It's not just because they're your customers and you need to have a good communication rapport with them, but what it does is when you need a favor and you have a good relationship with them, they will do it. Jay from Warner didn't think twice when I asked him to be a guest tipper. He was like, I'll tip on the official Warner account. He's like, I can't, use all the band's accounts, but I can do the official Warner account. I was like, well, okay, that's their corporate account. And he jumped right in and shocked me when it happened, but now that I think back on it, it doesn't, because he's forward-thinking and, he's the exact same person that when we were talking about releasing the Mastodon record, I made it a point to say, the Bitcoin audience are not going to be down with DRM. We don't want that. And he laughed and he basically said, yeah, we don't mess with DRM, it's terrible anyways. A label head said that, think of that. And they're way more forward-thinking than you'd think. And I've learned that he's very respected in the industry because of that. So I can't say enough great things about him. I was actually hoping to get someone from Warner here today, but it was too late notice, and in the music industry, it's sometimes hard for them to get to Atlanta unless they have an established presence here. My hope in the future is to do an event with them because they're brilliant, and I would love to hear them go and elaborate on their experience with Bitcoin, what they think needs to be improved, and really what works great. And why would Bitcoin matter much more? Well, the main reason artists accept it really isn't rocket science, it's for a marketing push, right? There are tons of people that use Bitcoin, and all artists have sold something with it, that I mentioned, but it's not like they're, really making millions here with it. What they're doing is they accept that it's a marketing thing for now. What's going to happen is it's going to matter a lot more in the future. And it really is, the true value of blockchain technology is still to come. And, the project that I'm working on and I'm about to go into, Augur, is built on Ethereum. And there's a lot of controversy, skepticism about Ethereum. Rightfully so. Everyone should be skeptical about anything, especially a crowd sale. If you're not, then I don't know how to talk to you. So please, be skeptical about what I'm working on. You should. It's normal and it's right. What I'm going to do is be as transparent as possible and refer any questions that I can't handle from a development side to the developer. And handle what I can, be as honest about what I can, and that's really our goal going forward with that. But what it has for me is I have a very optimistic, bullish outlook on the long-term goals and the long-term success of Ethereum. I really do. And models like iTunes, Spotify, Bandcamp, they will be replaced eventually. It's a matter of access, making sure that the network is large enough to handle tons of traffic, and making sure the timing is right. So I think that when you see the blockchain really infiltrate the arts, it's going to be when it has the capability and the bandwidth to really handle the arts. And right now it's great for text, and it's great for smart contracts, it's great for financial transactions, but there is an easy way to send a video in a quick and easy decentralized way that really works 100% of the time. BitTorrent's closest, and it still isn't perfect. Anyone who's used Popcorn Time or tried something similar to that has probably had an experience where something didn't load.